Good morning, everybody. It is 7:59. Good to see you. It's your friend James Shaw. Thank you so much for choosing to wake up and be here on a Tuesday morning. It's an Inspire Collective Tuesday. Ooh, Inspire members, are you so excited? Inspire members today, Aaron Simons, Emily Baker are back and better than ever at noon Eastern talking about your Q1 listing plan. First of all, they've helped you price listings right so they actually get sold and you get paid cash money records. And now they're about making sure that you have a great listing plan for Q1. Noon Eastern, Inspire members, link is in the portal. I emailed it to you yesterday. I texted it to you at 7 o'clock this morning, emailed it to you at 7 o'clock this morning, and I'll text it to you again today at 11:50. Like there's no excuse. Get on the call, Inspire members. It's the highlight of your day, no doubt about it. We are doing our back to the basics. I said we needed to figure out what the 5 basics were because I think it's the reason why you might get a little bit behind or not on track for goal is because you're not following the basics. And so I came up with five different ones than maybe what you've learned in other places, but this is just my list. You can come up with your list. You don't have to agree with my list. But the 5 basics, right? Yesterday we did create a goal with purpose and meaning. Because I don't think if your goal doesn't have purpose or meaning behind it, then gosh, what's the point? Number 2, which is today, is build the process that allows you to reach the goal. Instead of the strategy, the 3 Ws. I call it the 3 Ws of the real estate business. Wake up, wonder, and wander. That's what so many people do. They wake up, they wonder what they should do today, and they wander around pretending to do things. I want you to avoid the 3 Ws and build a process to allow you to reach your goal. Tomorrow, by the way, we'll talk about your database, building it and communicating with it. Thursday, we'll do tracking numbers, and Friday, we'll talk about how every interaction should add a little bit of value. And if you do those 5 basics, I think you'll be all right. So we're going to talk about that, but before we do that, we're going to do 2 something goods, Melissa and Kathy, and then we got to get after it. Go ahead, Melissa. Good morning.
Hey guys, good morning. So I love birthdays. So birthdays are my jam, and everyone in my life, my partner Jason and my children all have birthdays in November. So Jason also turned 50, James, this month, and I had the biggest surprise party for him. It took a village because it's really hard to surprise him, but we pulled off 30 people in my garage. I got them out. It was the best party ever. Now my children's birthday, we're in Roanoke right now celebrating their birthdays. My kids are turning 12 and 15, and I just love it. Just makes me so happy to have pulled off like the celebration for all of my people that I love. And right now I'm actually elevating mailbox using mailbox power to send love to all of my clients and VIPs, and just I don't know, I just love the celebration of I guess the day that we were born. So something fun for you, James, I'll bring to you next Monday in advance is I have a banner that says 50 looks fine when you're 39. So I'm going to bring you that gift for
That's so
Terry. But
sad.
anyways,
That's so
guys,
sweet.
you all are wonderful and amazing. I'm just grateful for you and can't wait to meet some of you next week at advance.
You're the best. See you in a few days. Kathy,
Bye,
Heidi,
guys.
good morning.
Good morning, James. Thanks for letting me share my something good. It's pretty cool. So, this community made me feel so welcome, and I feel like I can share important events. So, Cindy and I, we got married in 2017, and we're finally getting our wedding rings, and they're on their way. So, she's putting a ring on it. Hey, now.
She liked it. Congratulations. That's exciting stuff. And it's totally Kathy Heidi style. Get married in 2017, get the rings in 2025. That totally fits. It's good stuff. Kathy, we'll see you in a few days. Safe travels over
See
here.
you soon.
We
Thanks,
are so
James.
looking forward to Advance on Monday and Tuesday. And as a reminder, we do not have calls that day. So if you're not coming to Tampa for Advance, no calls Monday, Tuesday. We'll be back on Wednesday. If you're coming to Advance, I think we're in for a great set of days that falls right in line with the stuff that we're talking about this week. It's about mastering the fundamentals and mastering the basics and then putting creativity on top of it. That's what we learn in The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. That Gary says when you don't have a strong foundation, all the creativity in the world only makes the business topple over, weeble and wobble. And I don't want you to weeble and wobble. I want you to have a business that works, that you can count on certain things, that you can trust that when you do certain activities, you'll get a specific type of result, but that you don't get too tied to the outcome of an individual day. See, I think sometimes in this business we're so outcome focused and driven and wanting to get results that the highs of one day or the lows of another day can have a big impact on us. Well, what if we just said today was another day, and I know my process works, and some days I'll get great results, and some days I won't, and some days will be just okay. Think about our friend Alexi Pappas. If you remember her, she's been on Inspire Collective calls twice. She's been in Pivot a couple of times. She ran in the Rio Olympics in the 10,000 meters, and she taught us this rule of thirds. She learned this as a runner, as a professional runner. She says a third of your runs, when you're out running, doing training, a third of them are going to be amazing. A third of them are going to be just okay. And a third of them are going to be brutal. The words she used were a third of them are going to suck. And I think that, but you don't get too wrapped up into any of those one specific days because Alexi knows what her process is. She knows how she has to show up and what she's got to do on a daily basis to ultimately get to the goal that she desired, which was to be able to run in the Olympic Games, and she did. And so we've got to come up with our process. Well, how do we do that's the question. I think there's a handful of pieces. First is we have to start with the goal. Well, that was yesterday's call. So if you missed us yesterday, go to the podcast platform that you use, type in Pivot Shift Ahead Mastermind, and listen to the call we did on set a goal with purpose and meaning. But we've got to set a goal. And then you have to reverse engineer the math and figure out, all right, based on this goal that has meaning and purpose, how many units does that require me to sell? I think units is the leading indicator of the health of your business. So you figure out how many units does that require. If I need to close that many, then how many do I need to get under contract? If I need to get that many under contract, then how many listings, do I need to take, buyer listings or seller listings? And based on that number of buyer listings and seller listings, how many appointments do I need? And based on that number of appointments, how many leads do I need? And to get that number of leads, how many people do I have to talk to? You can reverse engineer all that. It's called the economic model from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. You can go in and do it. If you're coming to Advance, we're going to do all this live. Like we're going to go get out our abacus and I'll get the whiteboard out and walk all through this with you so that you can then figure out, all right, I need to have 5 meaningful conversations every day or whatever it is. We're going to do an exercise at Advance called What's Your Database Worth? Where we'll go through and figure out the total dollar value of your database and then how you can get that return from it. And I'll tell you, it'll be less work than you think. But you do have to be on purpose with purpose. And that's where you have to get into designing the process because you can't really design the results. The results have so many variables, but you do have to come up with whatever your process is or the behaviors that you need. Because I think that a successful business is a set of habits that you repeat. Is that redundant? It probably is redundant, habits that you repeat. But a set of habits and getting consistent in the right strategies and pieces from a daily lead gen standpoint. What's your follow-up process for leads that are not ready now but are ready later? How are you engaged with your database on a monthly basis? What's your monthly database engagement plan? How are you reviewing your business and reflecting on it and then planning for it each quarter? See, if you're an Inspire Collective member, we've built everything we do around those things. Daily lead gen is the tracker. Because these are the 4 elements of your process. Daily lead gen, your weekly follow-up, your monthly database plan, and your quarterly review. So in the Inspire Collective, we've given you the daily lead gen tracker so that you don't have to wake up, wonder, and wander. You can get up and figure out and print out the paper and figure out what am I going to do today. Weekly follow-up is getting into your pipeline. We've taught you. We've done so many calls on pipeline reports and how to stay in touch with it weekly. Monthly database plans. We've given you so much of that, and we have a call coming up in December about how to create a minimum 75 touch for our Inspire members so that you're in front of your database monthly. And then finally, a quarterly review, which we give you each quarter. We have a quarterly review spreadsheet and worksheet for our Inspire members that you can go through and figure out what worked, what didn't, what's next. That way you can control what you can control, which is the work that you do. Then we need some sort of visual accountability around it too, so that whether it's a 411 or a scorecard of some kind or whatever. And then what I love about all that, when you get all this together and you have a process, you've created your goal with meaning and purpose, and then you figured out your process that's going to allow you to reach the goal by plugging in the economic model from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, knowing what your daily activities are, knowing what your weekly follow-up needs to look like, knowing what your monthly database plan is, and then doing a quarterly review. When you do all of this stuff, you know what you end up doing? Taking all the emotion out of the process of the lead gen piece. You remove all the emotion and now you just show up and do the work. Because when you have a process, it protects you from the emotion that comes in the business of getting too high on the good days and too low on the tough ones. Because you just wake up and run your plays. Let's talk about that today. I want you to talk about what that looks like for you. I know it's an area of opportunity for all of us. It took me 8 minutes to oversimplify what it means to have a goal and then set a process. But I know there's days that you've been committed to the process and it's worked for you. So I'm going to open up and talk about it. Tulio, will you start us off? Good morning.
Good morning, James. Yes, I learned something last month. I learned a lot, but at the Rocky Mountain Summit, Jay Papasan was one of the presenters, and I took really good notes. I'm going to share a line that he shared with us, and it has to do with the 411. And I'm as guilty of this as anyone, of setting a goal, and it's just a goal that's for the whole year. And what he said was set a date with your 411 each week to check your goals and make sure your calendar reflects them. And this is the part I really liked. He said, when you date someone, do you visit them next January?
That's so good. That's so smart. Thank you, Tulio. Dean Moss, what's up, buddy?
Hey, good morning, James. Thanks so much for the opportunity. And Tulio, you're right on the money. It is strictly a process. It's what you do. You have to make what you do so automatic. You don't have to think about it in the morning. And we've talked before about night before planning. We've done that. But you also have to understand that the boring stuff is what we have to repeat day in, day out. Making the calls, talking to people, following up with clients, doing what we need to do to get that wheel moving. I mean, in my mind, I think of an old caveman cartoon where they're trying to push a wheel up the hill and it's made out of stone. But once you get the momentum, things start grooving, things start going. And that's the hardest thing to do sometimes. It's getting that inertia. So you have to give yourself that inertia every night before and then every single morning. So thanks for letting me share that.
You got it, buddy. Thank you. Meg Dady, good morning in Chicago.
Good morning. I'm actually in Austin for a couple weeks working remotely and here for a mastermind. So not quite as cold as always, but I love this topic, as you know, and I think it really starts with getting super honest with what is actually standing in your way from being consistent and what are the habits that maybe you need to adopt or break in order to kind of get to where you want to be. So I think for me, it kind of started with getting really honest with myself about those habits. Like even this morning, I scrolled in bed after I woke up for like 40 minutes and that ruined my time to work out. So, that's probably the next habit that I need to address is just like putting my phone in the bathroom at night so that I don't scroll for 45 minutes at night and 45 minutes in the morning. But so I think it really starts with getting honest and then just bringing it back to the simplest thing that you can do, like putting your phone in the bathroom or, whatever it is that's going to be more of like the foundation for lead gen and all of the other things that you want to accomplish.
Meg, you've been on this like mission of, I don't know, healthy habits. I think that's a good way to describe it. And in lots of different ways. And it's been something that, I don't know, I've watched you do it's something you're working on for 3 years. I don't know if you've given up the chai tea latte yet or not. But you've made a
Sugar
lot
is
of
on the list for this year. It's going to happen by the end of the year.
All right. But I mean, alcohol-free for over 1,000 days. You're riding the bike or running or working out very consistently. You've made massive changes in the business. So while the business is backed down, I think it's in a better spot now than it was 2 or 3 years ago. Like there's just been a lot of refining your habits, but it isn't an overnight process. Like it's literally, this has been something that's been in your vision for 3 or 4 years to really work on this. So now that you have that time to reflect on getting purposeful and doing the right things, what's the advice you'd give that person that is today where you were 1,000 days ago?
I think it's really to get super clear on what you want that to look like. Like if we're talking a year from now, what does your business look like? What are the habits of someone who has that business? And what's one thing you can do for the next 60 days that are going to set you in motion on January 1, that you're not setting a New Year's resolution, you're already 60 days into that.
It's really good advice. It goes back to what we said yesterday. Goal with meaning and purpose. If you don't have a goal with meaning and purpose, then the habits are irrelevant. They don't matter. They don't mean anything. And then if you just ask yourself the question, go a year from now, what does your 2026 self thank you for? Like what you're at the end of 2026 and we're going into 2027. What does that you thank you for deciding to do today? Meg, thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. And by the way, when you're scrolling early in the morning, don't loop me into it like she did today. All right. Jessica, you're next. Good morning.
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet for all of that, James.
I'm sure you do.
But no, it's anything that you do more than once that you can explain to somebody else is a process or is a system. You just may need to slow down and explain it to yourself again.
Figure out what those key things are. Document them so that when you do get a little bit lost, you know where to go. Jessica, thank you. Latasha Kennedy, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for calling on me. Funny that you should bring this topic up, even from the first call, because I was back in my composition book from 2023, where you talked about, it was Act 2, actually, where we were discussing reflect, adjust, and succeed. And one of the things you talked about was identify your mass, your mindset, activity, systems, and skill. And one of the things I focused on this year was my mindset and my activities, because I remember someone saying earlier this year, whatever you do, you'll get the result. You'll see results, I think, in 90 days, something to that effect. But I was really going to focus on the activity. And a lot of my activity this year was around posting on social media. And I can say because of that, this has been my best year in real estate. Most of my business came from social media this year. So again, I wasn't going to adopt the idea around, this is so many people saying this was the worst year, all of that. I listened, but I was like, you know what, this is my best year. And honestly, it really was. So just wanted to share that, identify mass.
I love it. Latasha, first of all, I forgot that we even came up with that. Act 2 was a series we did. I'm going to tell you, because I'm going to pull it up and show you. It's in the portal for our Inspire members, and it is really, really smart. Let me go and do this so you can see it. I got to change the size of this screen. But Act 2 is a series we did for Inspire members maybe in 2023. And the idea was it was like a mid-year business planning event. So it's under Inspire Included Courses. If you go in the portal under Inspire Included Courses, you'll find it here, Act 2. And we called it that because it was the middle of the year. And so we were like, your intermission, you're going into Act 2. And we did 2 live sessions, which they're right here, along with these different, we have a scorecard and a self-assessment. It's so great. Look how thin I was. And then we have all these agent-focused interviews on lead gen strategies that come with the playbook. So we did 3 open house calls. Then there's an open house playbook, FSBO call, FSBO playbook, database call with the database playbook. And then every single one of these also has like different tools inside of it for you so that you can implement this. So this is a really good thing. So Latasha, I'm glad you brought it up. This is available to our Inspire members inside the portal. Inspire Included Courses, Act 2. That's a really good series. Latasha, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Stephanie, you've had your hand up like 3 days in a row and I haven't gotten to you, so we're going to get you in today. Good morning, Steph.
Hey, good morning. I know I always have something that I want to add. You really trigger my brain, so I really like it. I love this call. Thank you for calling on me. So I have 2 systems that I use that are really changed my life and they're super simple. They're on my phone. One is the Do app. I don't know about you, but I'm very ADHD and I have 1,000 ideas that come at me, 1,000 things on my to-do list. And the Do app lets you put what you need to do. You can date it out like a month or 2 months in advance, and it'll notify you. So it'll pop up a little notification. You can check it off when you do it. It's very satisfying. And then there's an app called Everyday where you can customize your habits on what you want to build and check it off every single day that you do it. And then my favorite book right now is called The Power of Habit. Have you read this, James?
I posted it this weekend when I posted my favorite books of all time. That was one of them.
Yes, this is my favorite. It talks about one of my favorite parts of the book is, you know, whenever you first start a habit, it's going to be very difficult. And there's a scientific reason behind it because you have these neural pathways that have already been built, these little roads that have already been built. And so when you start a new path, you start a new habit, it's a lot more difficult initially. But after you get that habit down, it's going to be like second nature because you've dug that trench lower and lower. So it's going to flow more naturally. Your neurotransmitters are going to flow more naturally. Thank you for letting me share.
Power Habits, a great book. Steph, thank you for suggesting it. If you want to see my full list of my favorite books, you can go to my Instagram, and I did a carousel on Saturday that walks through them. Folks, a lot of hands up, so I can tell we're not going to be able to get them all in, but the bottom line is let's figure out our process and start first with the goal and then figure out kind of what are your steps. But here's the last piece, and the 936 of you that stayed on, you get the secret, and that is this. When you're overwhelmed, when you are confused, when you're a little bit lost, or when you start to obsess or hyper-focus on a result, just pause and ask this question. What could I be doing right now that'll get me closer to the goal? What could I be doing right now that would get me closer to the goal? And that question gets you out of this outcome, overwhelm, too many options focus, and allows you to just have a moment of pause and clarity and ask, what can I be doing right now? And then go do that. You'll be fine. Thanks for being here today. I love and appreciate all of you. Inspire members, I'll see you at noon Eastern. Everyone else, I'll see you tomorrow. On the way to Minneapolis today, I should probably find my coat to do ALC Clinic this week. Got your inspiration. Go put in the perspiration. Bye.
Thank you.